Teach him the price of ignoring you, Carl Jung. Ladies, let's talk about something that flips the entire game. Something that changes not just how men see you, but how you see yourself. Because the truth is, every woman has faced that moment. Staring at her phone, waiting for a message that never comes. The sting of silence can feel unbearable. Your mind starts spinning, your heart sinks, and you ask yourself, did I do something wrong? But here's what no one tells you. That moment, the one that feels like rejection, is actually your most powerful opportunity. It's the exact space where you decide whether to give your energy away or reclaim it entirely. When a man starts to pull back, everything inside you will want to react. You'll want to fix it, explain, reach out, and clarify. Because that's what love teaches us to do. But men don't respond to explanations. They respond to energy. They fill your pool, even through silence. And the moment you start chasing, they instinctively move further away. It's not cruelty, it's psychology. When something is always available, it loses its mystery. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." The more you resist the silence, the more it consumes you. The moment you stop resisting it, when you allow it to simply exist, you begin to regain control. Emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's choosing not to let temporary emotions dictate permanent actions. The real challenge isn't his distance, it's your reaction to it. That's why your strength is tested, because the truth is, when you can stay calm while your heart feels chaos, you are mastering something most people never do: self-command. So, the first step is simple. Detach emotionally. That means observing your emotions without obeying them. When your mind says, text him, you pause. When your heart says, maybe he's with someone else, you breathe. You don't argue with your thoughts. And you don't indulge your fears. You simply let them pass. A woman who masters emotional detachment doesn't play games. She sets standards. She doesn't chase. She attracts. She doesn't beg to be chosen. She chooses herself. And that kind of energy, calm, confident, and composed, is magnetic. It makes a man wonder what you know that he doesn't. It creates mystery, curiosity, and eventually regret. Because men feel attraction in the absence of assurance. When he knows you're there no matter what, there's nothing to earn. But when he senses distance, not the kind that's manipulative, but the kind that's rooted in self-respect, it activates something ancient in him, the instinct to pursue. Think of it like this. You become the calm eye in the center of the storm. He's used to women who chase, who question, who fold under silence. But you become the exception. He doesn't understand why you're not reacting. And that confusion makes him think. It makes him wonder. And wondering is the seed of longing. Other truths, until you make the unconscious conscious. It will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most women react from the unconscious fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, and fear of being forgotten. But the moment you shine light on those fears, they lose control over you. You stop being a puppy to emotion and start becoming the director of your story. So what do you actually do when he starts to pull away? You do nothing. You let the silence breathe. You don't rush to fill it with explanations or apologies. You don't post something performative on social media, hoping he'll notice. You simply pause. That pause is power. That pause says, I am not desperate for clarity from someone who cannot offer it. And when you do that, when you lean back instead of forward, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel your own energy return. You start noticing the world outside of him again. You hear music differently. You laugh more easily. You realize that life didn't stop just because he went quiet. You start remembering who you were before you gave your energy away. This is how power is rebuilt. Not through control, but through surrender. Not by forcing an outcome, but by trusting that what's meant for you will always make its way back. Say, irony. When you truly stop chasing, that's often when he comes back. But by then, you'll be so grounded, you won't need him to. This isn't about punishment. It's about perspective. Because a man who values you will never make you question your worth. He will not use silence as a weapon. And if it does, you must ask yourself why. You're fighting to be seen by someone who chooses not to look. Every time you resist the urge to reach out, you're rewriting the story. You're saying, my emotions do not control me. My peace is not dependent on his attention. And that mindset, that emotional sovereignty, is the foundation of irresistible confidence. When a man feels that you are no longer reactive, that you can exist happily without him, it triggers something deep within. He starts to notice. He starts to feel the absence. He begins to realize that your presence was Sante, whose company. He was comfort, and comfort is hard to replace. But here's the secret. Your silence isn't for him, it's for you. Because that silence is where your self-worth grows roots. It's where you remember your power. It's where you rediscover the woman you were before love made you forget her. So next time that phone stays quiet, don't panic. Don't analyze. Don't try to decode his absence. Instead, take it as a message from the universe. It's time to focus on yourself again. Use that time to realign with who you are. Do something that makes you feel alive. Surround yourself with people who see you. Fill your world with energy that uplifts you. Because the moment you become your own source of fulfillment, no man's silence can shake you. And here's something most people never grasp. Men are drawn to women who are whole, not women who wait to be completed. They crave energy that feels grounded, not desperate. They respect women who value their peace more than their presence. The third Carl Jung truth to remember is, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. This is your awakening. This is where the dream of needing someone else to validate you ends. Because when you awaken to your worth, everything changes. The men you attract, the way you respond, the peace you hold. This is not about being heartless. It's about having heart and boundaries. It's about knowing that love without respect isn't love at all. It's about understanding that sometimes silence isn't rejection. It's redirection. It's life. Saying you were giving too much of yourself to someone who wasn't ready for it. So the next time he pulls away, don't chase. Let him go. Let him wander. Let him feel what it's like to lose access to a woman who once gave freely, but now gives only where it's reciprocated. Because one day, when you've mastered the art of emotional detachment, when you've turned inward and found strength in your silence, you'll realize the truth. You never lost him. He lost you. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is more powerful than that. Now that you've learned to detach emotionally and hold your silence, it's time to channel that energy somewhere far more powerful into you. Because the truth is, the moment you stop reacting, something begins to awaken inside you. The fog of confusion starts to lift, and you begin to see that all the energy you were giving away to uncertainty, to overthinking, and to waiting was never lost. It was only misplaced. And when you reclaim it, you become unstoppable. Think about how much mental space that man has taken up in your mind. How many hours you've spent replaying old conversations, overanalyzing his tone, and scrolling through his social media hoping for a sign. That ends now, because every thought you pour into him is energy that could be building you. When you redirect your focus inward, you become magnetic in a way that no performance or tactic could ever create. You stop existing in reaction to his actions and start existing in alignment with your own purpose. You go from waiting for his validation to generating your own power. And men, they feel that shift. They may not be able to explain it, but they sense it. It's in your tone, your energy, your presence. Suddenly, the woman who once felt small and uncertain now feels expansive, luminous, and untouchable. The first step in reinvesting in yourself is to reconnect with your life, the one that existed before him and the one that still exists beyond him. Pick up the hobbies you left behind. Reignite your passions. Go out with your friends. Rebuild your routines. When you create a life that excites you, you stop craving excitement from others. You stop chasing connection and start attracting it. Because here's the truth. Most women don't realize the most attractive energy on earth is a woman who is deeply invested in herself. Not in a selfish way, but in a self-respecting way. A woman who wakes up and chooses herself before she chooses anyone else. Men can sense when a woman's world revolves around them. They can feel the pressure of being her only source of happiness. And that pressure suffocates attraction. But when you start living from a place of abundance, when your happiness comes from within, the energy shifts. You stop clinging. You stop worrying. You start glowing. And that glow, that's what draws people toward you. Not just men, but opportunities, friendships, everything. This shift isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely reaching a place where you are so fulfilled within yourself that his presence becomes a bonus, not a necessity. You begin to realize that love should add to your life, not complete it. You are already complete. Let's get real for a second. Most of us were taught to chase love, to prove we're good enough, to show our devotion in hopes that someone will reciprocate. But that's backward. The love that truly lasts is built on balance. When two whole people come together, not two halves, trying to feel complete. So instead of wondering if you'll text, ask yourself, am I showing up for myself today? Am I living in a way that makes me proud? Am I doing the things that bring me joy, peace, and growth? Because when you start asking yourself those questions, something incredible happens. You stop needing answers from him. His silence stops feeling like rejection and starts feeling irrelevant. There's a moment that every woman experiences when she finally detaches and reinvests in herself. A quiet realization that she no longer wants what once consumed her. And that's not bitterness. That's evolution. That's self-respect, catching up with your emotions. Imagine this. He checks his phone expecting to see a message from you. Nothing. He scrolls through your social media expecting to sense sadness instead. He sees light, joy, and movement. Not performative, not forced, but real. He sees you thriving, not because you want him to notice, but because you've rediscovered yourself. That is the moment the power dynamic shifts. Because men are not drawn to women who wait. They are drawn to women who move. And when he starts to sense that movement, when he feels that he is no longer the center of your universe, uncertainty creeps in. He begins to wonder, has she moved on? Has someone else noticed her? Did I lose her? For good. That uncertainty is what awakens his desire. Because men don't fear losing what else is easy to keep. They fear losing what they once took for granted. But here's the twist. By the time he realizes your value, you'll be so deep into your own growth that you won't even care whether he comes back. Because you'll see that his attention was never the prize your peace was. You are not trying to get him back. You are getting yourself back. The laughter you lost while trying to be enough. The confidence you buried under insecurity. The dreams you paused while waiting for clarity. All of that is coming back. And here's the beautiful irony. When you genuinely stop caring whether or not he reaches out, that's usually when he does. But by then, you'll be too focused on your own journey to make him your destination. You'll have options, clarity, and most importantly, peace. Let's be honest. When a man ignores you, he expects a reaction. He expects you to spiral, to chase, to prove that you still care. But when you respond with silence, with joy, with self-focus, he's left disoriented. Because he was prepared for the drama, not your composure. He was prepared for your anxiety, not your evolution. You see, when you shift your focus inward, you become unpredictable. Not because you're playing a game, but because you're no longer operating from the script he knows. And unpredictability creates intrigue. It makes him realize that maybe, just maybe, he misjudged you. But again, the goal isn't to make him chase. The goal is to rise so high that the version of you who once needed him feels like a stranger. Because true confidence isn't, I'll make him miss me. Whether he misses me or not, I'm still good. You start showing up differently. You walk into rooms with presence. You laugh louder. You move slower. You exude peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've stopped needing external validation to feel valuable. And something miraculous happens. When a woman reaches this level of wholeness, life starts meeting her halfway. She attracts people who mirror her energy, men who are emotionally available, opportunities that align with her worth. Because energy doesn't lie. And when you radiate, you repel everything that doesn't match it. So ask yourself, what have you been delaying because you were too busy waiting? What passions have you been neglecting while chasing closure? What dreams have you put on pause? Now is the time to return to them. Because as you invest in yourself, your health, your friendships, and your purpose, you begin to build an inner world so rich that no man's silence could ever take from it. You'll realize that love is not something you earn by proving your worth. It's something that flows naturally to those who already know their worth. And when you become that woman, focused, glowing, and magnetic, the entire game changes. Not because you're trying to make him notice, but because you've become too powerful to be ignored. This is where true attraction begins. Not in the chase, not in the waiting, but in the becoming. You become so deeply rooted in yourself that the idea of chasing anyone feels foreign. And the beautiful part is, that's when love, real love, finds you. Now that you've learned to detach and reinvest in yourself, it's time to embody what I call the magnetic feminine energy that is quiet, undeniable power that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and never settles. This is the part where you stop thinking like the girl who waits to be chosen and start becoming the woman who chooses. Because here's the truth, men don't fall for women who chase. They fall for women who glow. They fall for women who seem to have the world orbiting around them, who are soft yet grounded, mysterious yet open, confident yet kind. That balance of softness and strength is your greatest weapon and your greatest protection. When you've been hurt, when someone's silence made you doubt your worth, it's easy to swing to extremes. You either harden your heart and decide you'll never care again, or you keep overgiving, hoping to prove you're worthy. But real feminine power is neither. It's the sweet middle ground. Open but distraught. Loving but unbothered. Connected but free. You see, when you master the art of emotional detachment and self-investment, something sacred happens. You shift from seeking love to embodying it. You become love. And when you become love, it starts chasing you. Let's talk about that glow. Not the surface level glow of makeup or filters, but the inner one. The one that radiates peace, presence, and satisfaction. That glow comes from emotional sovereignty, from knowing that no man, no situation, no rejection can diminish your essence. A man can feel that kind of energy, even when you're silent. He feels it when he sees your calmness, when he senses that you no longer depend on his attention for validation. That energy says, I don't need you to choose me. I already chose myself. That's the energy of the prize. Being the prize doesn't mean arrogance. It's not about superiority. It's about self-worth. It's about understanding that your energy, your peace, and your softness are not entitlements. You don't hand them out freely to someone who hasn't earned access. Because a woman who values her energy is a woman who commands respect. Here's a hard truth. Most men don't change because you chase them, argue with them, or prove your worth to them. They change when they feel your absence, when they realize that your presence brought something rare. But that realization only happens when you walk away with grace, not resentment. When you detach, it's not to manipulate, but to protect your peace. Remember this: silence isn't punishment. Its presence was withheld. It's saying, until you come with respect, my energy is unavailable. When you master that kind of discipline, the universe rewards you. Because detachment isn't about indifference. It's about alignment. It's about saying, I trust that what's meant for me won't require me to chase it. And that trust, that fate, it's magnetic. Men are instinctively drawn to women who are calm under pressure, because calmness signals confidence. It says, I am not afraid of losing you because I was whole before you came. That's the kind of woman who leaves a mark not because she tries, but because she is. Now, let's talk about the deeper layer, the subconscious. Jung taught us that we attract from our unconscious patterns. That means if you've been repeatedly drawn to emotionally unavailable men, it's not bad luck. It's a mirror, a reflection of a part of you that still believes love must be earned. But once you awaken, once you see that pattern for what it is, you can break it. You can choose differently. You can decide that love doesn't have to come from pain, inconsistency, or confusion. You can decide that love can be peace. And that's the most radical, powerful decision a woman can make. So here's the real transformation. When you stop chasing love, you start becoming love. You stop performing for attention and start radiating authenticity. You stop contorting yourself to fit into someone else's world and start building your own. That's when your standards change. You no longer want the man who gives you butterflies. You want the one who gives you peace. You no longer crave the thrill of inconsistency. You crave the stability of someone whose words match their actions. And when you move with that kind of clarity, your energy upgrades. Your vibe becomes undeniable. You attract men who are on your level, emotionally mature, grounded, and intentional. Because like energy attracts like energy. But even before any man arrives, you'll realize something profound. You've already become the woman you were always meant to be. The woman who can sit in silence without fear. The woman who can love deeply without losing herself. The woman who doesn't chase but attracts effortlessly. That's divine feminine power. That's what Jung meant when he said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You've spent so much time trying to be understood by others, but the real victory is understanding yourself, knowing what you bring to the table, and no longer begging anyone to sit there. You are the table. You are the energy. You are the peace he didn't know he needed until you left. And when you reach this level, something magical happens. Your energy begins to filter people automatically. You won't even have to cut people off anymore. They'll simply fall away when they can no longer resonate with your vibration. That's not loss, that's alignment. From here on, your silence won't come from pain. It will come from power. It will say, I don't argue my value anymore. The woman who once over-explained now moves in quiet certainty. The woman who once begged for attention now receives it effortlessly. The woman who once settled now waits patiently for what she deserves. That's the evolve. That's your transformation. Because the moment you stop trying to be loved and start being love itself, the universe conspires in your favor. People, opportunities, abundance. They all start finding their way to you. You no longer have to chase. You just be. So take a deep breath and feel this truth in your bones. You are not losing anything by walking away from someone who couldn't value you. You are gaining yourself. You are stepping into your power. You are remembering who you are. And when you embody that sacred, grounded, self-loving energy, every man who meets you will feel it. Some will be intimidated, some will be in awe, but all will know one thing for certain. You are not the kind of woman who can be taken for granted, because you have evolved from the woman who waits to the woman who chooses, from the one who chases to the one who attracts, from the one who hopes to the one who knows. You are no longer the girl who needed him to see your worth. You are the woman who finally sees it herself. And that self-recognition is the most powerful energy in the world. There comes a point in every woman's evolution when she no longer recognizes the version of herself who once begged, overgave, or waited for crumbs. That point right there is the rise. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, graceful, and grounded. It's the moment when peace feels more intoxicating than passion, when self-respect feels more rewarding than reassurance, when solitude feels more sacred than shallow connection. This is the stage where your energy transforms from wounded to magnetic, where everything you once chased starts gravitating back toward you. Because life, love, and energy are sick. What you give away unconsciously eventually finds its way back when you reclaim your power consciously. You see, the woman who was detached, reinvested, and reawakened is not the same woman who once sought value. She's softer, yet stronger. She's more open, yet less available. She loves deeply, but selectively. Her energy now says, if you want access to me, you must come correct with clarity, consistency, and intention. That's divine feminine maturity. It will direct your life, and you will call it fate. For too long, you called the patterns of inconsistency fate. You told yourself, maybe this is just how love is. But now you see that it was never fate. It was a lesson teaching you that the love you were searching for outside of yourself was the love you were always meant to cultivate within. And when you embody that, something incredible happens. You stop fearing loss. Because how can you lose something when you already carry the source of love inside you? This is what makes you unshakable. When a man feels that your peace can't be manipulated, that your happiness can't be baited, or that your validation can't be purchased, he's left with only two choices: rise to meet you or fall away. Either way, you win. Because you're no longer operating from fear, you're operating from power. Men are drawn to that power instinctively. not because it's dominant, but because it's rare. Most women give their power away in the pursuit of connection, but the woman who remains connected to herself while in the presence of a man, she's unforgettable. She's the woman he can't replace. Not because of her looks or her words, but because of her energy. That's the woman who lingers in his mind. That's the woman he dreams about. That's the woman he remembers long after she's gone, because she never chased sin. Let's be real. Most people talk about attraction like it's a strategy. Wait 3 hours before texting. Back, don't say too much. But those are tactics rooted in insecurity. True attraction doesn't come from playing games. It comes from embodiment. It comes from the way you walk into a room with quiet confidence. From the way you speak, slow, sure, deliberate. From the way you smile, like you know something no one else does. That's the kind of confidence that can't be faked. It's born from self-trust, from knowing that no matter what happens, you've got you. And that's the ultimate form of emotional detachment. Not indifference, but inner stability. It's knowing that love is beautiful, but it's not oxygen. It's knowing that relationships are meant to add to your joy, not replace it. It's realizing that your worth is not a negotiation. When you hold that kind of energy, everything changes. People start treating you differently, not because you demand it, but because you expect it energetically. Opportunities open, friendships deepen. You attract people who match your peace, not challenge it. And yes, the man who once took your energy for granted will feel it too. He will feel the loss, not just of your presence, but of your warmth, your laughter, your care. Because those were never ordinary. They were sacred gifts. And maybe he'll come back. Maybe he won't. But either way, it won't shake you. Because when a woman truly values herself, she no longer needs closure. She is the closer. The power you're stepping into now isn't loud or defensive. It's quiet, certain, and radiant. It's the energy of a woman who knows that she doesn't need to prove her worth. She just needs to live it. You've outgrown the version of yourself that needed validation. You've outgrown waiting for messages that never come. You've outgrown performing for love that should have been given freely. Now, you move differently. You love differently. You live differently. You wake up and pour into yourself before the world gets a chance to drain you. You protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You no longer give energy to confusion, because clarity is your new standard. And in this new energy, you'll start to notice that life mirrors it back. The same way chaos used to find you, now peace does. The same way inconsistency once felt normal, now stability does. You'll attract people who are grounded, kind, and emotionally intelligent. Because like energy attracts like energy, and you've become the vibration of peace. The woman you've become doesn't chase attention. She commands respect. She doesn't compete. She radiates. She doesn't wait. She creates. This is your rebirth, and the most beautiful part. The men who once confused you, hurt you, and ignored you, they were never meant to break you. They were meant to awaken you, to teach you what you will and will not tolerate, to show you where you abandoned yourself, so you could learn how to come home to yourself, because that's the real lesson. You are never losing them. You are finding you. So, the next time life tests you with silence, wield this dance with uncertainty. Don't react. Remember who you are. Breathe. Smile. Lean back. You've mastered the art of detachment, reinvested your energy, reclaimed your power, and risen into your feminine grace. From this point forward, love will never feel the same, because you'll never approach it from need again. You'll approach it from abundance, and abundance changes everything. The woman who once feared being too much will now realize she was only ever too much for the wrong people. The woman who once settled for half a foot will now wait for full intention. The woman who once doubted her worth will now walk like she carries the entire universe within her, because she does. You are her now. You are the storm and the calm that follows. You are the lesson and the liberation. You are the muse, the masterpiece, and the mystery. So don't dim and don't shrink. Don't apologize for your standards. Stand tall in your softness. Be proud of your peace. Walk like you know that every step is guided by the woman you fought to become. And when love finds you again, because it will come differently. It will come steady, honest, and secure. It will not demand your chase. It will match your pace. It will not confuse you. It will calm you. Because now you are trapped by your healed energy. And healed energy never chases chaos. It only calls in peace. You've done the work. You've rewritten the story. You've reclaimed the narrative. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are the choice. And that is the ultimate